All right, it says that we're live, but seems to be a little bit glitchy. This. Can you guys at least hear me okay? All right, I think that fixed it. Volume good, yes. How about the video? What's up, Julia? Karen. Steph, been a minute. How you been? Where you been hiding at? Yep, I saw that. Iran struck Qatar, the U.S. base in Qatar. No casualties. I don't even think anybody was injured. Maybe some concussions or something like that later on. Mustang, what up? Yep, saw that grunge. Welcome in. All right, thank you, Julia. What's going on, Boston? Kelly O. So you guys ready to dive into Abby and Libby's case today? I feel like we haven't talked about this case in a while. Grunge Truck says, now we'll completely go in. I don't think we did what we did to show strength. We knew that they were going to retaliate. They didn't kill anybody in the retaliation. It was minimal. That's it. CJK. Yep, today's Monday, June 23rd, 2025. Things I wanted to talk about today. I want to talk a little bit of Brandon Woodhouse. I want to look at some of the items I was posting about Keegan Klein, some of his sealed documents from his other cases, non-Delphi related. We have Robert Kyleson, the lead. A officer dies from self-inflicted injury. And then I'm going to ask you guys if you could get a list of items that you can surrounding the Delphi case. I know we lost tip their list. Grunge war helps the economy. Get gas. All of the preppers and stuff bombs and like materials. Christine, what's going on? Okay, I see that. Let me see if there's anything I can do about that. So maybe just killing my camera now. and see going out. What's going on, Kelly? Says happy heavenly birthday to Abby. She would have 20. When I said that this morning, it kind of tripped me out. I was like, wow. Think how time really does fly. Amel's little dolls. Amelza. Sorry. Welcome in, Amelza. Deb asks, will we ever find out more about how they were found, signature, etc.? um, what don't we know, Deb? I mean, I think there's nothing about this case that we don't know. As far as the crime scene, what else is there? Miss Dog Lover, how you doing? Welcome in, Mark. American Girl Reacts. I still think Doug Carter has something to do with this. Like, what are you talking about, American Girl? To do with what? With the actual crime itself? That's interesting. It's kind of, how'd you come to that? Interested in your journey. Miss Dog Lover, time really does fly. My nephew is 18, beginning of September. Seems like it was only yesterday he was crawling. I mean, it's like the snap of your fingers, and 20 years can fly by. How's it going, Karen? How you doing, Mark? Dark Side. He was the superintendent, if I remember right. Yep, that is correct. Mustang. Look at Mustang's avatar photo. Doug Carter had nothing to do with the crime itself. That's total nonsense. I'm still interested to hear how American Girl Reacts got to that point. I'm curious. Scorpio Rising. What up? Who is not a Scorpio, by the way. Think you're what, a Capricorn? Is that what you said? Scorpio Rising, I think, is a movie title title of a cult classic, if I remember that correctly. I haven't seen it. Grunge, maybe the Shack Talk. I mean, they did tear down the CPS building, Richard Allen parked in front of the CPS building. There were other vehicles parked at the CPS building, according to witnesses. The CPS building was wide open. The door, they weren't locked. The building wasn't sealed. So if you were going to kidnap somebody from, let's say, the cemetery or from the Monon High Bridge Trail, you could take them directly to the CPS building, sexually assault them, kill them. It's basically like an abandoned house or an abandoned building. People coming at you, Mark. It happens. Karen, you're a Scorpio. All right, I want to hear from where you're from, the state that you're from, or just you don't have to give me your sign unless you want to. Louise, what's up? American Girl. All right, I have my reasoning behind this. I really do. Stay tuned, guys. I may just make another channel. Been thinking about it for a while. Not just Doug Carter. A lot to do with Carroll County. Well, just give me one. If there's so much information that you're about to build a whole channel behind it, just give us one little piece of information that led you to Doug Carter as being involved. Like, you don't have to give us all of it, just a tiny one sentence piece of information. Oh, yeah, too much to type, right? Too much to type. It's so earth shattering that I have to write a book about it. I can't just summarize it. That's okay. We get it. No need to type all those words. Yeah, I'm a Capricorn. Hey, it's a Ken Anger short film from the 60s that inspired the design of the jacket in Drive with Ryan Gosling. Drive is one of my favorite movies. That is low key a really, really, really good movie. I love the soundtrack too. It's great. True Crime Housewife, what's up? Indiana, and she's an Aries. Shout out to Indiana. Big up. Mark says jealousy is a disease. Get well soon, Should we send flowers? I always thought jealousy was the name of a demon. Hi, my name is Jealousy. And then it just kind of whispers in your ear and you can't see them because they're like invisible to, they're outside of our visual spectrum. Mustang. I won't bother watching nonsense, so thanks for the warning. Teaser. Easy stuffer. That's not nice, American Girl. Peggy O, what up? Let me see if I can jump back on my camera. If it starts glitching again, make sure you let me know. We have a full house. The kids are home from school, so. Yeah, that movie's great. Great cinematography. And the soundtrack, even better than Donnie Darko, in my opinion, as far as the soundtrack. It's so hot out that it's hard to run. Yeah. And I busted my foot, so I can't use the treadmill. So I just been lifting weights. Yeah, I can't even go for a walk outside. Hey, jealousy. That's a was that Black Crows? Peggy O. Yeah, Lucifer was jealous, and that was his demise. Yeah, and apparently he was jealous of us, Peggy. Like God created the angels in heaven and said, "You guys, you have to, you're the rule of your existence is you have to be perfect. You're right beneath me, so I expect perfection from you, and you can oversee all. Like you're basically my bodyguards, and I'm about to create free will, and I ultimately will need protection from my own creation, trying to balance it out the best way that it can, right? Something that we couldn't even fathom. And then God creates mankind, on earth, and here's these angels overlooking earth and observing man in all his splendor, in all his freedom, in all his free will. And Lucifer said, "Well, why do I have to be perfect? But then you make this pathetic flesh, earthbound, three-dimensional thing, and they can just go around doing whatever the fuck they want, flinging shit and running around naked and experimenting and learning about hot and cold, good and evil." And apparently Lucifer got jealous. And that's, I think, part of what's corrupting and the cause of a lot of this true crime that's out there. That little voice. Is it psychosis or is it a demon? The BTK, most serial killers or psycho killers talk about being possessed by a demonic force or a specific entity. So, I mean, is it psychosis or are they demon possessed? Either way, it's pretty scary. Good to see you, GP. Miss Dog Lover. I don't get jealous. I don't get jealous either. I don't think everyone gets jealous. I think just certain people get jealous, controlling people, narcissists, people who are guilty of it themselves. Jealousy is kind of like a projection. It's like a duper's delight red flag. Like, what are you hiding? Like, what are you so jealous about? What like, it's often accompanied by like suspicion. Scorpio Sleuth, why do you think the Delphi case keeps being so compelling after Richard Allen was found guilty, in your opinion? I think a lot of it has to do with, yeah, the synth OST of Drive is fantastic. Yeah, the lo-fi feel of it all. Well, in my opinion, there's just so many unanswered questions. You got the lost tip. You have all of the weirdness going on with Keegan Klein. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about Brandon Woodhouse. Remember, Brandon Woodhouse, he's the guy that Rosie leaked the entire index to. So he knew everything about the case. He had all of the exhibits. He had everything. So he had the entire discovery index in his possession. The question is, now remember, Brandon Woodhouse is the same guy that was talking to somebody about seeing Keegan Klein at a hotel right before the Wabash River search. He said he saw Keegan Klein. He had a bottle of champagne. He was with a woman. So I don't know who that woman was. He said that Doug Carter. So maybe this is what you're picking up on, American Girl. Apparently, it was a deal made by Doug Carter so that they could get the name of Richard Allen. So if Brandon Woodhouse knows this and Rosie is kind of learning about it, but maybe it's sealed, he might have been trying to connive Brandon in a weird way. Because as soon as he leaked it to Brandon, Brandon had a small YouTube channel and he put it up. It was up for about 2 days. I wish I would have screen recorded it because he shared this conversation that he had with a woman, and they both knew who Keegan Klein was. And this woman worked at a hotel, and at this hotel, she saw Keegan Klein. So if anybody wants to start an investigation into that, that might be where you want to start. I actually might have that screenshot. And a lot of this information's on my old computer, so I might need to fire that up, throw it onto a flash drive or something. Okay. So it actually starts over here. And the other part of this message is talking about how they're at a hotel, blah, 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 blah. Keegan Klein has a bottle of champagne. And I guess they stated this was for a return for a statement against Allen. For McClelland, sorry, not Carter, McClelland. And remember, they met at Grissom Air Force Base. So I think the reason that Keegan Klein was never involved in the Delphi case might be because McClelland did some shady shit. And that technically would have been fruit of a poison tree. If you wine and dine Keegan Klein, hey, that rhymes. Wine and dine Keegan Klein on Indiana's dime, that shit ain't fine. So if McClelland did something like that, and that's how they were able to get Richard Allen's name, wouldn't be admissible in court. But if you miraculously find a lost tip, then it's all good. Then we can move forward. And we have probable cause because we never were able to get our second interview. And if we would have gotten our secondary interview, that would have probably been enough for a search warrant. So Brandon Woodhouse. So that's some very interesting information. What about some documents that were leaked in Keegan Klein's case? His case not involving the Delphi murders. I think this is like page 7. This isn't all of it. This might have been either sent to me by Lilith or posted by Lilith. But it says here, not for public release. So these are from some kind of a sealed document. But this gives you an intimate look at who Keegan Klein really was and how scary of a dude he was. Lucifer's the original hater. Welcome in, Samantha. Simple, they are Lucifer pawns, primed and ready. Yep. Yes, indeed. Puppets. Right. Hopefully, karma or something caught up to his lawyers. I mean, why would he leak that to, out of all the people, he leaks it to Brandon? There's no reason to even be talking with Brandon. Well, I guess so. He did have a lawsuit against Carroll County. Maybe that's why what they were communicating about. So I take that back. Maybe it was going to the credibility of the investigative team. Scorpio, typically don't tend to believe in Keegan Klein being involved, but I have to admit the girls talking with him, the river search, and then Richard Allen getting arrested right after. Yeah, and he talks about there being two that he's afraid of. And that fall have an alibi that Keegan Klein's alibi. But had all it out phone activity. It's only one phone. It's not like they had Keegan Klein's phone running around Peru, Indiana. Apparently, that's not the case. The truth is, they have one phone, and one person attached to that phone, their word is providing the alibi for the other person. So they don't even have TK's cell phone data to prove where he was or wasn't. They just have Keegan Klein's word on it. And then we all know Keegan Klein failed a lie detector test. You have Rosie leaking the discovery index to Brandon Woodhouse. Brandon Woodhouse is in possession of some very strange information relating to Keegan Klein and the Wabash River search. So Brandon Woodhouse is talking about seeing Keegan Klein with champagne bottles, talking about a deal that he made. He's with a woman, and that for exchanging information on the Delphi murders, he was able to be out for the night. I don't know. He was with a woman getting messed up at a hotel room. I don't know if you can do that. If this was all set up by McClelland. Because without that, I mean, they never would have got Richard Allen. You know, where else are they going to find that name? It would have been over with. Because remember, he was marked as cleared. His name wasn't even really in the system. What's up, Joe? Gave them McDonald's and stuff. Yeah, that's different, you know. Because they have to eat. You know, you got to give them water, food, especially if they're in your custody. But a hotel room and champagne? That's weird. So you have Brandon Woodhouse's story of Keegan Klein in a hotel room with a woman in champagne right as they begin searching the Wabash River. Keegan Klein gets what he wants, gives them the name Richard Allen. They begin looking. They're following up on Richard Allen. They're observing him. They don't find what they're looking for. How are they going to arrest him? It would have been so much easier if they would have found a phone and a knife. And then that led to Richard Allen. But the truth is, they wined and dined a confidential informant, which might be like providing gifts, it seems, you know. Something weird about all that. Joe says Keegan would tell someone. Well, apparently he told Noe, a couple people that he was locked up with. And then he actually told the entire investigative team. So he confessed, Joe. But let's look at who Keegan Klein really was. Take a look at this creepy shit. Viewer discretion advised. There's going to be some strong language here. And this is the witness in his CSAM sextortion or CSAM cases. Apparently, page 7 out of 17. Witness advised that Keegan Klein told her that he repeatedly fantasized about gangbanging little girls and asked if he could do that to her. So it's like he doesn't want to do it with her alone. He wants to bring his friends with him. If it's even Keegan Klein, but I think it's proven that it was in this case. The witness advised that Keegan Klein went as far as to video chat with her on several occasions with 4 adult black males in the video behind him and tell her that they would all bang her. I suspected if there's a relationship between the Kleins and Richard Allen, that this is kind of what happened. You would have Richard Allen and the Kleins reconnecting because we know they lived in the same neighborhood. TK's only a couple years older than them. Sources have stated that they in fact knew each other. Second Street is the key. So they didn't stay connected. What this is a relationship from back in like, I don't know, like probably early 2000s, and then skip all the way to 2016 or when he went to CVS over there in Peru. So that's when they reconnected. So this is the kind of situation that I'm envisioning is Keegan Klein trying to impress Richard Allen, right? He's having trouble. His marriage is on the fritz and he's out, he's letting his freak flag fly. And he's over here in Peru. His wife's over there in Delphi. She doesn't want to deal with anything. Her brother-in-law or her brother just passed away. So I'm hanging out with the Kleins now. Struck out at the bar. Remember, he said I would never cheat on my wife again. And now he's back at the Klein home. It's a little after party. So Keegan Klein starts showing off, like possibly what he was doing here with 4 adult black males. One of the black males had gray in his hair and appeared to be older, while the other 3 appeared to be approximately Keegan Klein's age. Advised that Keegan Klein knew where she lived because she had provided him with her address. Advised that at one point early on in the relationship, Keegan Klein told her he was going to buy her presents, so she had to give him her home address to have them delivered. That is some creepy shit. Advised that none of the promised gifts were ever delivered to her. So he's targeting these women. What for? Does he want to go over there and find them and stalk them and watch them from a distance? Does he want to literally go over there and kill them? What else does he need their address for? He's not showing up. He's not trying to date these girls. The alleged gifts that were promised ranged from expensive shoes and clothing to articles from Victoria's Secret. Remember, they talk about the money going from Anthony Schatz to Libby. So this isn't up for debate. We have a witness, one of the victims of Keegan Klein, explaining his MO right here. Advised that one time Keegan Klein sent her $10 through Cash App to buy food for herself. Advised that Keegan Klein instructed her how to utilize the Cash App application. Yeah, it's a good question, Mark. Who cleared Richard Allen? It does make you wonder. Here, for example, this was something else in Delphi. Delphi police officer dies from self-inflicted injury. It was reported to the Carroll County Comment Monday morning, December 14th, that a Delphi police officer had taken his own life sometime the day before. There was no formal announcement, or the report was confirmed by the Indiana State Police later on Monday to ISP Public Information Officer, the same guy that announced the anti-shots info. Delphi part-time police officer Nathaniel Nater, 46 years old, was on duty at the time of the incident. Pierce said Miller is deceased from a self-inflicted injury. The location of the incident was given as Aubert Park at the north end of Washington Street. Sheriff Tobe Lesenby was contacted about the incident and said that Miller was a good friend for a number of years. He said Miller was also a part-time process server for the sheriff's office. So I'm not saying that he's the guy that cleared the tip, but I mean, I'm wondering if it's something similar to this. It always makes you wonder when these things happen, but I'm sure he has his own reasons or had his own demons. Miss Dog Lover with the super chat. How sick is that? Even just to have those thoughts in his head. Some very evil people in this world. Protect your kids from these monsters. Exactly. And a lot of people they're still kind of sympathizing with Keegan Klein. Like, oh, he had a rough life, his dad. And look how pathetic he is. But the truth is, he's using that to manipulate people. He's doing a Jedi mind trick on those out there who are susceptible to the manipulation of psychopaths. But the truth is, he's a monster. Like, he literally could have been him and Richard Allen committing the murders alone. Those two. So another tragic case out of Delphi. Just some more strangeness surrounding the case. Let's welcome in Cryptex. What up, Cryptex? Very interesting. Cryptex, the Cash App money transaction between KK and his victim is what happened to Libby as well. Yeah, exactly. They talk about it. During his interview, they asked Keegan Klein directly, and what's going on with the money going to Libby? We have the money going to her. They don't go into specifics, but I mean, it sounds exactly like what we're reading here. Keegan Klein sent her $10 through Cash App. Advised that Keegan Klein and utilize the Cash App application. So this is how grooming works right here. So you're going to have the predator grooming your young child, telling them your parents are going to come searching your phone. They're going to come looking. They don't want us to be friends. So they're going to coach your child on how to hide. Right? You need to hide. You need to hide me from your parents. They won't understand our relationship. They won't get it. I'm the only one that gets you. You know it. So they're grooming and taking advantage of these children while educating them on how to hide. Like, here, click this link or download this app, download Snapchat. It'll delete everything. So not only do they groom them to abuse them, they groom them on how to hide as well. Take care, Miss Dog Lover. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully we'll see you in the comments. Okay, let's continue on here. Witness advised that she exchanged photographs with Keegan Klein through several social media applications, including but not limited to Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger. Advised that she sent completely nude pictures to and received nude pictures from Keegan Klein. Right? Most likely not of himself. Those photos from Keegan Klein included penis pictures that he told her were of him. Additionally, also advised that Keegan Klein asked her to video chat with him and masturbate while he watched. Advised that Keegan Klein would specifically ask her to utilize her fingers or the handle of a hairbrush. This is not something somebody just does, right? He has been doing this for a long time. Advised that sometimes while she masturbated on the video chat, Keegan Klein would allow the four unknown black males to watch. Advised that Keegan Klein asked her if he and his friends could double penetrate her. That's fucking weird. But advised that she observed Keegan Klein on Snapchat. Advised that during the videos she could see Keegan Klein's face. Advised that the person she saw is the same person that the news had identified as Keegan Klein. Advised that Keegan Klein asked her to meet in person at least 30 times during the course of their online relationship. Advised that she was scared to meet in person and therefore an in-person meeting never occurred. Advised that Keegan Klein would get mad and threaten to come to where she lived and kidnap her and force her to a gangbang with friends. Advised that when she got scared, she would block Keegan Klein her accounts, but that he would just create new accounts and act with. Now, I'm deleted her phone because she was being harassed by a 19-year-old guy. Tara, Derek German's sister, Tara German, helped her factory reset her phone. And she was probably experiencing this very same thing right here. Let's go back to this part. Keegan Klein would get mad and threaten to come to where she lived and kidnap her or force her into a gangbang. Right? So something like that. I need you to reset my phone. I got to get all these apps. You know, I was groomed. I added all these apps on here that are to help hide, you know, realizing that she's been completely groomed. But still trusting Anthony Shots, right? The account is to help the predator glean information. So they glean information and then they use that information and they try to enter in with the Keegan Klein secondary accounts, right? With all of this helpful information. And they never allow themselves to be caught in the Anthony Shots account because that's the one that he was able to gain their trust with. So he keeps that one over here, and any information learned from that, he tries to bring into what appears to be a real scenario, a real life scenario. Advised that when she got scared, she would block Keegan Klein from her accounts, but that he would just create new accounts to interact with her. Advised that Keegan Klein would always tell her that because she was 16 years old and the age of consent, he could not get into any trouble for what he was doing to and with her. On several occasions, Keegan Klein advised the witness that he owned her. See, this isn't just little poor innocent Keegan Klein. Oh, I would never try to meet these girls. I would never. To Mr. I'm going to come find you, kidnap you, gang rape you, and I own you. That's who he really is. Yep, they underestimate him. And it's not that, Cryptex. You got to give Keegan Klein some credit. He's a master manipulator. He's been doing that his whole life. You know, he's been fantasizing and having these sick thoughts his life, and he's been hiding. So he needs to look pathetic. He does it. He does it anytime he's photographed in public. It's the person trying to convince. Alan, what's up? Yep, not the first time. Well, yeah, Murder Sheet did a good job with that interview. Yep. They're what they're about, Boston, is just kind of spreading wickedness. It's terrorism on a whole nother level. It's not based off of a religion or a specific ideology. It's just complete terror, fear, and pain. They have their own 10 commandments. Sleuth, do you use OBS? No, why is it acting up? Here, close that. Maybe it'll get better. All right, let's continue on here. During the ongoing relationship, the witness advised that Keegan Klein began to try and convince her to record herself performing sex acts with other girls. Advised Keegan Klein that she was not comfortable with doing that for him. Advised that Keegan Klein told her that he would like for her to record herself with a 13-year-old girl because that was the prime age that he liked. "13. Abby and Robert." Advised Keegan Klein told her that he liked 10 or 13-year-old girls because they were so tight. Advised that as Keegan Klein got more persistent about the younger girls, and that at the same time an unknown profile began contacting her on Snapchat. See this work? Advised that as Keegan Klein got more persistent about the girl, at the same time, no, Keegan Klein may not even be the guy that's into the 13-year-old girls. This is almost like somebody butting in here. So here's a pattern that I'm noticing. As Keegan Klein or whoever's operating the profile at that time got more persistent about the younger girls, it was at that same time an unknown profile began contacting her on Snapchat. I think that's something that happened with Delphi. I think that could have been Richard Allen, right? He's at 13 girls. Keegan Klein often talked about falling asleep, doing heavy drugs, PCP, mushrooms, and just passing out, and that people had access to his devices. What's going on, Metal Mama? Jay, good. Okay. So at that same time, right when Keegan Klein is talking about how he's into 13 and young, an unknown contacting her on Snapchat. The profile was that of a young white female with blonde hair who identified herself as Emily Ann. This is so fucking creepy. This is the behavior of a murderer. Emily Ann advised that she was a family relation to Keegan Klein. Oh, how convenient. And got her social media profile from him. Emily Ann advised that she was 13 years old, right? Happened to be the exact same age as the girl he's into. And remember, Emily Ann is the name of Keegan Klein's niece, 3-year-old niece at the time. According to the witness, Emily Ann immediately started to have sexual conversations with her. Advised that Emily Ann told her she and her dad sex with each other, and she would like to have the witness participate. The witness advised her that she was not comfortable with that and would not participate. The witness advised that she never had a conversation or video chat with Emily Ann. The interactions only took place on Snapchat. The only activities that took place were Emily Ann sending her nude photos and reciprocating by sending nude photographs to Emily Ann. The witness advised that the photographs did seem to be of a girl around the age of 13 years old. So he's sending her photos of girls that he already victimized to further his victimization. At that the young girl seemed underdeveloped, which she thought was that preteen girl. Felt pressured by Emily Ann to provide her with sexual photographs and videos because she believed that Emily Ann would tell Keegan Klein things about her that would make him mad and maybe make him come and find her. She didn't. Masturbating utilizing her fingers and hair. So, I mean, taking all of this into consideration, Keegan Klein could have played a more active role in the Delphi murders, like a more physical role. And maybe just including his father into all of it was a way of that. All right. So we'll hang out in the chat for a little bit. And then we'll talk about Woodhouse. Do you I have no clue. Is I feel like Keegan Klein's telling some truth. Right? Barry Morphew, he's telling some truth even with his staging of the crime scene. He's leaving, profiling him, the way that he staged the crime scene kind of tells you what he's obsessing about. Like her recent bike riding to get in shape, right? Upset that she's getting in shape and not for him. So it ends up being part of his murder plot. So he's projecting and doesn't even realize it. Okay, so who is Brandon Woodhouse? Brandon Woodhouse, he's kind of like a peripheral figure in the Delphi case. Not a suspect. I keep as far as I know. He became entangled due to receiving delivery or the index. I'm not sure. Okay, Woodhouse received a USB drive index. I don't know if it was a USB drive. I think it was an email. Like allegedly by Richard Allen's former defense attorney. This occurred around October 23 during the crime scene photo leak scandal involving Mitchell Westerman. Woodhouse had signed a waiver for his civil attorney Baldwin to access medical records, but received instead. October 6, 2020, a search was begun at Woodhouse, and his bond was revoked. With the photo leak investigation suggesting authorities viewed him as a potential link in the evidence dissemination chain. He later settled a civil lawsuit against Carroll County Sheriff's Office, though details are limited. Woodhouse's role parallels what the hell was his name? Is it Robert Fortson, who received photos from Westerman and died by suicide after police questioning. Woodhouse reportedly shared information mystery, possibly a YouTube, or no, I think that's similar to how the Fishers man sent photos to his Texas contact, and I believe that's Mark Roberts. So there's something going on with Mark and so they have some other bits that are unknown because Robert's not going to take just because he reviewed Delphi photos. There's another secret there. Something else to that. Shortly after this, his YouTube channel was also taken down. But yeah, that's really all I had for you guys. If you have any, I think nobody can really explain the lost tip. Nobody can explain it. Somebody wrote cleared. Somebody entered it into the system incorrectly, and it was just miraculously found. And somehow the tip is tied to everything. It's tied to the weird Keegan Klein stuff, the Wabash River search, this rumor that Keegan Klein was wined and dined by McClelland, so they get the name Richard Allen. If it wasn't for wining and dining Richard Allen, cause and effect, we wouldn't even have the whole lost narrative. We wouldn't need it. But we have the name of Delphi killer, but we obtained it through liens. So how are we going to use this in a trial? Well, we have to create the lost tip narrative. And we'll use Kathy Shank as our patsy, right? Just bring it in court, and nobody's asking us where we got it from. Which part is a rumor? What's up, Tony? Hey, good for them. Three's Company. It's like an episode of Friends. The part where you said it's rumored that investigators wined and dined Keegan Klein. Yeah, it's just a rumor. But if people are interested and they want to investigate what the hell happened, right? Keegan Klein just came out and confessed. Why did he confess? He's the only person that actually submitted an official confession, a written statement, a videotaped confession. Where is it? Why haven't we seen it? Why are they searching the Wabash River the same day that they're conducting that interview with him? Why are they 2 weeks after the Wabash River search that they started? Because are they arresting Richard Allen? Is it just a coincidence? I mean, it's possible, but in exchange for Allen's name, yep. And he was filed as a confidential informant. So anything having to do with that interaction is confidential. I just think it's really strange that the one person out in the public that knows about this potential whining and dining, he's raided. He's raided like the very next day. So he drops this information about Keegan Klein being wined and dined after receiving the discovery index. And then his home, they serve the search warrant. And his YouTube channel is gone. the one person that could have broken this whole thing wide open. He's connected to it all. Brandon Woodhouse, he has intimate knowledge of the leak, where it might have actually originated from. He has information about Keegan Klein possibly being wined and dined by McClelland in order to get the name of Richard Allen. Right? This could be like a Hail Mary. Like, what else do we have? We've spent all this money trying to piece it all together, and nobody's willing to talk. We don't have any physical evidence. There's no DNA on the crime. Like, this could have been like, this is it. If we do this right, we can get away with it. Right? We need to find out who was with Keegan Klein. Who is this other person? Right? So they take Keegan Klein to Grissom Air Force Base. Like, why do they need to take him there specifically? There's a reason for that. I haven't figured it out, but there's something. Yeah, there's a reason for that. I'm assuming maybe no video cameras, no tape recorder. I don't know if you could do a FOIA request on any information. I think it might be possible. Try video of them, the video of Keegan Klein confessing Grissom Force Base. Add to all of that, the defense of Richmond was interested in attacking the KK angle. Not at all. It's like he that is all the deal. It's almost as if even if he knew the road, he couldn't. Chardonnay, box of Twinkies, and a date. They give him Keegan Klein's name. They go and type it into the system. Discovered that somebody put it in there incorrectly. And they know that somebody did it on purpose. You know, had to be somebody who had access to that information. Carroll County blamed it on the FBI, and not an FBI agent, but an employee that was helping. The FBI said, nope, wasn't us, dude. Yep, got a settlement from the county for abusing his rights, I believe. So here is a photograph of Keegan Klein the day that they were searching his home because of the Delphi murders. It's a nice pair of shoes he's got right here. Just back from Las Vegas. What's up, Susan? Some Jordans. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it. If you guys don't have anything to add to the strangeness, and if you're part of the replay crew and you do have some strangeness to add, leave a comment. If you guys need to get a hold of me, you can always email me, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. What's up, Purple Haze? We will be doing an open panel live stream later tonight. So if anybody's interested in calling in, we will be having a little get together tonight. So if you're interested, hit the link or call in on the number. Stumpy. He just needs to get one of those peg legs. I think so, Jay. I think he's diabetic. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but I do know that he's an amputee. All right, guys, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and catch you on the flip.